There will come a time when people will test you. They will try to provoke you, manipulate you, or hurt you, just to get a reaction. And the moment you react, they win, because their ego feeds on your response. But here's the truth. Your silence is more powerful than any argument you could ever have. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It takes real power to hold back when someone is trying to break you. They expect you to fight, to justify yourself, to explain why you deserve respect. But when you stay silent, you strip them of the control they seek. Silence is often misunderstood. Many believe that if you don't respond to someone's insults, accusations, or attempts to provoke you, it means you're weak, submissive, or incapable of standing up for yourself. But in reality, silence is a powerful response, one that requires immense self-control, emotional intelligence, and inner strength. It is not about ignoring or avoiding a situation, but rather about choosing where to invest your energy. When faced with confrontation, most people react impulsively. They feel the need to defend themselves, prove their point, or fight back. But reacting in anger or frustration often leads to further conflict, misunderstandings, and emotional exhaustion. When you choose silence, you are making a conscious decision to disengage from negativity. You are not allowing yourself to be dragged into an unnecessary battle that serves no real purpose. There are people in life who seek validation through conflict. They provoke arguments, insult others, and create drama because it fuels their ego. Their power comes from knowing they can control your emotions, manipulate your reactions, and make you feel small. The moment you respond, you give them exactly what they want: attention, engagement, and the satisfaction of knowing they've affected you. But when you stay silent, you deny them that power. They are left with nothing to feed their ego, and without your participation, their words lose meaning. Choosing silence in the face of provocation is a sign of emotional discipline. It means you have the ability to regulate your emotions instead of letting them dictate your actions. It's easy to lash out, to argue, to try and prove someone wrong. But true strength lies in restraint. It's about knowing that not every battle is worth fighting, and that some fights are won by simply refusing to engage. Beyond conflict, silence also has the ability to make people reflect. When someone is expecting a reaction from you and they receive nothing, they are forced to sit with their own words and actions. It creates an uncomfortable space where they have to confront themselves. Many times, silence speaks louder than any argument could because it shifts the focus from you to them. They start to question whether they were wrong, whether they went too far, or whether they even deserved your attention in the first place. In relationships, whether personal or professional, silence can be a tool of self-respect. If someone continually disrespects you, belittles you, or disregards your worth, silence can serve as a boundary. Instead of trying to convince them of your value or argue for their respect, you walk away. Your silence communicates that you are unwilling to engage in toxic behavior, and over time, it forces the other person to realize that their actions have consequences. Some of the most confident and successful individuals understand the power of silence. They don't waste their energy on proving themselves to people who don't matter. They don't seek validation from those who refuse to see their worth. Instead, they let their actions speak. They focus on their growth, their peace, and their success. Their silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of self-worth. When you choose silence, you are telling the world that you are in control of yourself. You are demonstrating that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on meaningless conflict. You are proving that true strength does not come from how loud you speak, but from how well you understand when speaking is unnecessary. Silence is not the absence of a response. It is the most powerful response of all. The ego is a hungry force, always seeking validation, attention, and superiority. It thrives on reaction because every response it receives fuels its existence. When someone tries to provoke you, insult you, or challenge you, their ego is not looking for resolution. It is looking for dominance. The moment you react, whether in defense, anger, or frustration, you are giving their ego exactly what it craves: power over your emotions. This is why some people intentionally create drama, pick fights, or manipulate situations to get a reaction from you. They want to know they have control over how you feel and how you respond. When you react impulsively, you are operating on emotion rather than wisdom. The ego feeds off that impulsivity, using it as proof that it has influence over you. It wants you to feel offended, to argue, to explain yourself, because in doing so, you acknowledge its importance. The louder you react, the more you validate the person who is provoking you. But when you refuse to react, the ego begins to starve. It has nothing to hold on to, nothing to push against, and nothing to justify its inflated sense of self. Silence is one of the most effective ways to disarm an ego-driven individual. When they are expecting an argument, a defensive response, or an emotional reaction, and they receive nothing, they are left in a state of discomfort. Their ego is suddenly faced with emptiness. Without a reaction to feed on, it begins to shrink, and they are forced to sit with their own emotions instead of projecting them onto you. Many times, this leads to self-reflection, where they start questioning their own behavior instead of justifying it through your response. The ego also feeds on control. People with strong egos want to dictate how you feel, how you see yourself, and how you respond to them. They thrive on knowing that their words or actions can trigger you. But the moment you detach and refuse to engage, you take away that control. You become unpredictable, unshaken, and untouchable. This is why some people become even more aggressive when they don't get a reaction. They are scrambling to regain the power they thought they had over you. The more you remain unmoved, the weaker their ego becomes. Another way the ego feeds on reaction is by making you believe that you must always defend yourself. It tricks you into thinking that silence means acceptance or weakness. But true confidence doesn't need validation. A person who knows their worth does not waste their energy trying to convince others of it. They understand that their value is not determined by someone else's opinion, nor is their peace worth sacrificing for an unnecessary argument. By refusing to react, you are showing that their words hold no weight in your life. People who operate from a place of ego struggle to understand this kind of self-control. They expect retaliation, emotional outbursts, or an endless cycle of back-and-forth exchanges. When none of that happens, they are forced to sit in their own frustration. Over time, they realize that their attempts to provoke you are futile, and their ego weakens because it no longer has the fuel it needs to thrive. Mastering the art of non-reaction is a powerful tool. It puts you in control of your own emotions and prevents others from manipulating your state of mind. Instead of feeding their ego, you conserve your energy for what truly matters: your growth, your success, and your inner peace. The less you react, the more powerful you become, because nothing weakens the ego more than being ignored. True confidence doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't seek approval, validation, or constant reassurance from the outside world. It simply exists. Confident people move through life with a quiet assurance, knowing who they are and what they stand for without feeling the need to prove it to others. They do not feel threatened by the success, opinions, or judgments of others because their sense of self is built from within. They trust their own abilities, choices, and worth, which allows them to remain calm and composed in any situation. On the other hand, insecurity demands attention. It is loud, aggressive, and constantly in search of validation. Insecure people feel the need to talk about their achievements, exaggerate their abilities, or seek constant praise to mask their self-doubt. They fear being overlooked, so they make sure their presence is known. They speak over others, try to dominate conversations, or use arrogance to cover up their internal fears. The louder they are, the more they hope to convince the world and themselves that they are confident. But true confidence does not need an audience. Confident individuals do not need to prove their worth to anyone because they already know it. They understand that external validation is fleeting, and they do not rely on others to define their value. This is why they are comfortable in silence, comfortable being alone, and comfortable letting their actions speak for them. They do not waste energy trying to outshine others or constantly remind people of their worth. Their confidence is felt rather than heard. Insecurity, however, thrives on external validation. Insecure individuals often compare themselves to others, seeking reassurance that they are better, smarter, or more successful. They fear being insignificant, so they try to overcompensate by being the loudest in the room. They interrupt, they boast, they exaggerate their accomplishments because deep down, they are afraid that they are not enough. Instead of focusing on growth, they focus on perception, always seeking ways to appear superior rather than actually improving themselves. A truly confident person does not feel the need to compete with others. They celebrate other people's success because they are secure in their own journey. They understand that someone else's achievements do not take away from their own. Insecurity, however, breeds jealousy and resentment. An insecure person feels threatened when someone else succeeds because they see it as a reflection of their own inadequacies. They may criticize, belittle, or gossip about others in an attempt to feel better about themselves. But these actions only reveal their lack of self-assurance. Confidence is also evident in how people handle challenges and criticism. A confident person listens, learns, and adapts. They do not take criticism personally because they know it does not define them. They have nothing to prove, so they focus on growth rather than defense. An insecure person, however, reacts defensively to any form of feedback. They feel attacked and immediately try to justify themselves, shift blame, or discredit the person giving the criticism. They are too consumed by their need to appear perfect that they miss the opportunity to improve. Another key difference is how people handle rejection and failure. Confident individuals accept failure as a part of life. They do not see it as a reflection of their worth, but as a lesson to be learned. They move forward without losing their sense of self. Insecure people, however, take failure personally. It shakes their entire self-image, making them feel inadequate or unworthy. Instead of seeing setbacks as opportunities to grow, they see them as proof that they are not good enough. Confidence is about inner peace. It is quiet because it does not need validation. It does not seek approval, attention, or recognition. It stands firm in its own truth. Insecurity, on the other hand, is loud because it constantly needs reassurance. It demands attention, approval, and acknowledgement to feel worthy. But in the end, no amount of external validation can fill the void of self-doubt. True confidence comes from within, and once it is built, it speaks for itself without ever needing to raise its voice. Mastering emotional discipline is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop. It is the ability to control emotional responses instead of allowing emotions to control actions. While emotions are a natural part of being human, the way they are managed determines the outcome of situations, relationships, and personal growth. Those who lack emotional discipline react impulsively, often making choices they later regret. They allow anger, fear, frustration, or anxiety to dictate their responses, which can lead to unnecessary conflicts, damaged relationships, and missed opportunities. Emotional discipline does not mean suppressing emotions. Rather, it means understanding them, processing them, and responding with intention rather than impulse. It is about being able to pause before reacting, evaluating whether a response is necessary, and choosing a course of action that aligns with long-term goals rather than short-term emotions. This self-control is not something that happens overnight. It is a skill that requires practice, self-awareness, and patience. One of the first steps in mastering emotional discipline is developing self-awareness. Many people go through life reacting emotionally without even realizing why. They may become angry, anxious, or defensive without fully understanding the triggers behind these emotions. Taking the time to reflect on emotional patterns, identifying what situations cause emotional distress, and recognizing how past experiences shape reactions can lead to a greater sense of control. When a person understands their emotional triggers, they can begin to break free from automatic reactions and instead respond with intention. Another important aspect of emotional discipline is learning to pause. In moments of intense emotion, the instinct is often to react immediately. However, taking a deep breath, stepping away, or allowing a few moments to process emotions before responding can prevent regrettable actions. This small pause allows the logical mind to regain control over the emotional mind, leading to more thoughtful and effective decisions. It also prevents emotions from escalating into unnecessary conflicts or destructive behaviors. Emotional discipline also involves shifting perspective. Many emotional reactions stem from misinterpretations, assumptions, or personal insecurities. By stepping back and looking at a situation objectively, it becomes easier to separate emotions from reality. Instead of reacting with frustration to a critical comment, a disciplined person might consider whether there is truth in the feedback, or whether the other person's words are a reflection of their own issues. This ability to detach from emotional interpretations and see things clearly is a key component of emotional strength. Another crucial element is practicing delayed gratification. Many emotional reactions are tied to seeking immediate relief, whether it's lashing out in anger, making impulsive decisions, or indulging in behaviors that bring temporary comfort but long-term consequences. Developing the ability to tolerate discomfort without reacting impulsively builds resilience and self-control. It allows a person to stay focused on their larger goals rather than being swayed by temporary emotions. Mindfulness and emotional regulation techniques can also help in mastering emotional discipline. Practices such as meditation, deep breathing, and journaling provide space to process emotions in a healthy way. Instead of bottling up feelings or letting them explode, these techniques offer a structured way to acknowledge emotions without being consumed by them. They help create emotional stability, making it easier to respond with clarity and wisdom rather than react out of impulse. One of the most challenging yet rewarding aspects of emotional discipline is learning to let go. Many people hold on to resentment, grudges, or past emotional wounds, allowing them to dictate their present state of mind. Emotional discipline involves recognizing that holding on to negativity only prolongs suffering. Choosing to release anger, forgive, and focus on personal growth instead of dwelling on past pain is a powerful act of self-control. Mastering emotional discipline leads to greater inner peace, stronger relationships, and better decision-making. It allows a person to navigate life's challenges with composure, handle conflicts with wisdom, and pursue goals without being derailed by fleeting emotions. It is not about becoming emotionless, but about learning to harness emotions in a way that serves growth, success, and overall well-being. Silence has a profound impact on the human mind, often triggering deep reflection in ways that words cannot. In a world where noise dominates, people are accustomed to filling every moment with conversation, music, or distractions. But when silence enters a situation, it creates a space for thought, forcing the mind to process what has been said or done. Silence allows for self-awareness, clarity, and insight, making it one of the most powerful tools for personal and interpersonal growth. When someone is faced with silence, they are left alone with their own thoughts. Unlike noise, which can be a form of escapism, silence requires a person to sit with their emotions and reflect on their actions. This is why people who are used to constant external stimulation often find silence uncomfortable. It forces them to confront their inner world. Without distractions, they must face their fears, insecurities, and unresolved feelings. This discomfort is actually an opportunity for growth because it pushes individuals to analyze their thoughts, behaviors, and decisions more deeply than they would if they were constantly engaged in noise. Silence is also a mirror in relationships. When someone is met with silence instead of an immediate reaction, they are forced to reflect on their own words and actions. This is why moments of silence in conversations, especially after conflict or confrontation, can be so powerful. If a person expects an argument, a defensive response, or a justification and receives nothing, they are left with their own energy. This often leads them to reconsider their position, question their behavior, or realize the weight of their words. Silence in this way becomes a teacher. It does not accuse or defend, yet it demands self-examination. In moments of decision-making, silence also plays a crucial role. Instead of reacting impulsively or making choices based on immediate emotions, taking a moment of silence allows for better judgment. When emotions are high, responses are often clouded by frustration, fear, or excitement. But in silence, emotions settle, and logic has a chance to take the lead. This is why the best decisions are rarely made in the heat of the moment, but in moments of quiet contemplation. Beyond individual reflection, silence has the power to shift dynamics in social settings. A person who is comfortable with silence commands attention in a way that words cannot. In contrast, those who constantly feel the need to speak, fill gaps, or over-explain often do so from a place of insecurity. Confident individuals understand that silence can be more impactful than speaking, especially in situations where emotions are involved. They know that words spoken in haste can be regretted, but silence allows for wisdom to guide the right response. Silence also fosters deep thinking and creativity. Some of the greatest ideas, solutions, and innovations come from moments of quiet reflection. When the mind is constantly stimulated by external noise, it struggles to form original thoughts. But in silence, new perspectives emerge and deeper understanding takes shape. This is why people often have their best ideas in moments of solitude rather than in chaotic environments. For those who seek to influence or inspire others, silence can be a strategic tool. When a person pauses before responding, it creates anticipation, making their words carry more weight. Silence before speaking signals that the words that follow are carefully chosen, making them more impactful. Leaders, negotiators, and end speakers use silence intentionally to shift energy, create suspense, and command respect. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of thought. It is a space where emotions are processed, self-awareness is heightened, and clarity is found. It forces reflection not only in the person embracing silence, but also in those around them. Those who master the power of silence understand that it is not emptiness but a tool for deeper understanding, stronger decision-making, and greater personal growth. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you have. Unlike money or material possessions, energy cannot simply be replenished by external means. It comes from within, and how you choose to use it shapes the quality of your life. Every thought, emotion, and action requires energy. And if it is spent on the wrong things, it drains you, leaving you exhausted, unfulfilled, and stuck in patterns that do not serve you. Understanding the value of your energy means becoming intentional about where and how you invest it. Many people waste their energy on things that do not bring them growth or peace. They spend hours overthinking situations they cannot change, engaging in unnecessary conflicts, and trying to control things beyond their power. They allow toxic relationships to drain them, constantly seeking validation from people who will never appreciate them. They hold on to resentment, replay past mistakes in their minds, and allow negativity to consume their thoughts. Over time, these habits deplete their energy, leaving them mentally, emotionally, and even physically exhausted. Protecting your energy starts with awareness. It requires understanding what lifts you up and what drains you. Some interactions leave you feeling inspired and empowered, while others leave you feeling emotionally exhausted. Some habits help you grow, while others hold you back. By paying attention to how you feel after engaging in certain activities, conversations, or thought patterns, you gain insight into where your energy is going. Once you recognize the areas where your energy is being drained, you can make conscious choices to redirect it. Setting boundaries is essential in conserving your energy. Not every situation requires your reaction, and not every person deserves your time. Learning to say no to things that do not align with your values or well-being is a form of self-respect. Many people struggle with this because they fear disappointing others or being seen as selfish. But the truth is, when you prioritize your energy, you become more effective in every area of your life. You show up as your best self in relationships, work, and personal growth because you are not constantly drained by unnecessary distractions. Your energy is also deeply affected by the company you keep. Being around negative, critical, or manipulative people slowly drains your mental and emotional strength. Their negativity seeps into your thoughts. Their drama becomes your burden, and their lack of growth keeps you stuck in the same cycles. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with people who inspire, support, and challenge you to become better replenishes your energy. They push you toward growth, encourage your dreams, and help you see possibilities instead of limitations. Choosing the right environment is one of the most powerful ways to protect your energy. Another key aspect of managing your energy is learning to let go. Holding on to resentment, anger, or past disappointments drains you more than you realize. The more you replay negative experiences in your mind, the more energy you give to things that no longer serve you. Letting go is not about ignoring what happened, but about choosing not to allow it to take any more of your energy. It is a decision to focus on what is within your control, your present and your future, rather than wasting energy on what cannot be changed. Taking care of your body and mind is also a crucial part of protecting your energy. Lack of sleep, poor diet, and constant stress wear down your ability to function at your best. When you prioritize self-care, Whether through rest, healthy habits, or activities that bring you joy, you naturally boost your energy levels. Movement, mindfulness, and spending time in nature can all help restore balance and keep your energy flowing in a positive direction. At the core of it all, your energy is what shapes your reality. Where you invest it determines the kind of life you create. By being intentional about what you give your time, thoughts, and emotions to, you gain control over your well-being and future. Choosing wisely means choosing peace, growth, and fulfillment over distractions, negativity, and unnecessary struggles. It is not selfish to protect your energy. It is necessary for living a life of purpose, clarity, and strength. Revenge is often seen as an act of getting even, of proving a point, or making someone feel the same pain they inflicted. But the truth is, the best revenge is not retaliation. It is growth. It is not about seeking to hurt those who hurt you, but about rising so far above the situation that their actions no longer affect you. Growth is the ultimate way to take back your power because it shifts your focus from the person who wronged you to the person you are becoming. Instead of wasting time and energy plotting ways to even the score, you redirect that energy into improving yourself, creating a life that is so fulfilling and successful that the negativity becomes irrelevant. When you focus on growth, you refuse to let bitterness consume you. Holding on to resentment does nothing but keep you attached to the pain of the past. It chains you to the very people and experiences you want to break free from. Every moment spent dwelling on what someone did to you is a moment you could be using to build a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. The best revenge is not proving them wrong with words, but showing through your actions that they no longer have control over your emotions or your future. Growth is silent, yet it speaks volumes. It sends a clear message that while they may have tried to bring you down, they failed. True growth means learning the lessons that pain was meant to teach you. Every setback, every betrayal, and every disappointment carries wisdom. It teaches you who to trust, what to tolerate, and how to navigate life with greater awareness. Instead of staying stuck in anger, growth forces you to ask, what can I learn from this? This shift in mindset transforms hardships into stepping stones rather than roadblocks. When you use adversity as fuel for personal development, you elevate yourself beyond the situation, making it a chapter in your story rather than the definition of your life. One of the most powerful aspects of growth as revenge is that it allows you to succeed on your own terms. Many people fall into the trap of wanting to prove something to those who doubted or hurt them. But real success comes from doing it for yourself. It is about setting goals, developing new skills, and creating a life that brings you genuine happiness, not just to impress or spite someone else. When you grow for yourself, your progress is limitless because it is driven by purpose rather than pain. There is also a confidence that comes with growth. When you evolve, you realize that you no longer need to engage in battles that drain you. You outgrow the need for validation from those who never valued you. You stop wasting time explaining yourself to people who will never understand your journey. This kind of confidence is unshakable because it is built on self-awareness and inner strength, not on the opinions or approval of others. It allows you to walk away from situations that no longer serve you with grace instead of resentment. Perhaps the most satisfying part of using growth as revenge is that it makes those who doubted or hurt you irrelevant. There is no greater response to negativity than success, peace, and fulfillment. When you reach a level where their actions no longer impact your emotions or decisions, you have truly won. They may expect you to be angry, to seek revenge, or to remain stuck in pain. Instead, when they see you thriving, unbothered, and moving forward, they are left to reflect on their own actions, and that in itself is a far greater impact than any form of retaliation could ever achieve. Growth is the best revenge because it transforms you. It turns pain into wisdom, setbacks into comebacks, and anger into motivation. It allows you to reclaim your power, not by fighting back in the same way, but by rising so high that the past no longer holds you. The best way to show that nothing and no one can break you is to become better, stronger, and happier than you ever were before.